Welcome to TC and the Wolf, a brand new podcast featuring the Reverend Tom Chandler, a talented but slightly disgruntled music producer, and Nick Wolf, a singer, songwriter, and technology wizard. Important note, everything we say here is a joke and only for entertainment purposes. Do not take this seriously. The opinions expressed do not represent the views of anyone else or any companies we may be affiliated with. Make sure to subscribe, like, follow, and share. And as always, drink responsibly and make sure to tip your waiters.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to TC and the Wolf. You are listening to us today live in studio. This is Reverend Tom Chandler. To my far right is Mr. Nick Wolf.
Episode 3, baby.
That's right, the third episode. We're fucking tearing it up. Podcast Global Network has begun. It's going to be awesome.
Nobody believed we would do more than one, so we're fucking killing.
Everyone thought we were just going to talk about the one haunted house I lived in and say, fuck it. Anyway, to my immediate right is a really good friend of mine. I know him as Hot Carlito Sanchez. I know him as Hard Carl. I know him as a lot of things. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Carl Raether. Say hello to everybody.
Well, how's it going, y'all?
Yeah, he is a bass player that is famous here around LA, famous in Las Vegas, and started in the Washington D.C. scene, right?
I did, yeah. I started in the DC punk scene in like 2002.
Who did you play for back then? What's the band called?
The first band was called The Issue, and then I got hooked up with a band called the Little White Pills, which was one of the larger bands at the time. So it was
How punk was the punk? That's what I want to know.
It was pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say it was like, you know, like it wasn't hardcore music, but it wasn't punk. You know, it was hardcore punk. Like everything was lightning fast. You know, shit getting smashed and broken.
What kind of BPMs we talking?
Oh God, I don't think the Pills played anything under like 180.
Oh, Jesus.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Those guys are raging, dude.
We were flying. I mean, our songs were fucking short.
And what was the
fast,
scene like back then? Who were the bands that emerged out of the scene back then?
I mean, back then there was a band called the Homeowners that were fucking awesome.
You're going to say the Homos.
Which
is great too, by the way.
Shut up.
There was a great band called the Goons. They were kind of like the creme de la creme of the scene. There was... I can't remember. I'll think of it later.
Punk bands have such great names. The Goons, the Homeowners, fucking awesome.
Yeah, dude. The Goons were fucking rad. And
but your bands, like what would you compare it to? Like what would be a comparable artist?
You know, for The Issue, like there was a lot of like reggae and ska that we did.
Oh.
So you
Op Ivy,
Op Ivy, The Clash, kind of those two a little bit, and then. Like Little White Pills was just 4 on the floor, fast and mean. I mean, our singer had been the poor bastard that had to replace Gigi Allen when Gigi finally bought the farm. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
He was going to buy the farm the first week, to be fair.
I mean, Gigi...
he lasted a little while.
Gigi lasted a long time. I mean, I've heard a lot of fucking stories over the years about that guy from people that knew him or were in the New York scene, you know, with him and around him.
So when you were back there, this was early 2000s, right?
Yeah.
So like Salad Days was going big, like that studio, and they were putting out like Thursday. Did you hear about those guys at the time?
No.
No, none of that? You didn't hear about Thursday, Hopes Fall, none of that stuff? That was not
Thursday's not like punk though, is it?
No, I mean, that was...
Well, it was big emo days back then.
Emo, yeah.
Which was adjacent to punk and hardcore.
There was like a cool scene for that in the DC area at the time. You know, that was doing like a lot of like all ages shows in like indoor basketball courts for like rec centers and churches and stuff like that. You know, there was all ages.
There's no better place to have a show than a basketball court.
Or VFW.
Yeah. But, you know, I mean, if you play well enough, know your gear well enough, and have at least someone in there that can mix decently enough on whatever PA gear you bring in, you know, it's going to sound pretty good. And, like, those shows were packed. So, like, the bodies would sponge it all up.
So, Carl, what year did you arrive in Los Angeles?
2005.
And what was the driving force about coming here?
I had joined a band called Spectre, and for me, that was like a challenge band because, like, I had to learn how to play slow. And that's a big fucking difference.
It is.
But the band was like, kind of doing well, like more on like the metal scene around DC. And I really liked what they did. I got to be friends with those dudes. And then one day they just called, or like, hey, do you want to, learn a couple tunes and come jam? I was like, sure. And they're like, can you learn some more?
Wow.
Okay. And I guess I managed to figure out how to play slow enough to get the gig.
To figure out the gigs.
Yeah. But everything was like drop tuning. And then the guys were like, well, if you really want the gig, like, we just want to be completely honest with you. We are moving to Los Angeles sometime soon. We want to try to do things better and faster. And for career-wise, yeah, So, I was like, okay, cool. When do we leave?
Nice.
That's rad. Yeah.
I had a very similar circumstance. I had gotten a new drummer into Icarus Landing back in the Cleveland, Ohio area. And we did a show, and then it was like, we're planning on leaving to LA in 2 months. Are you coming or not? It's that kind of thing. So that resonated for me. But actually, the guy is a beautiful, wonderful guy. His name's Mac. Shout out to Mac. All due respect. He wasn't really cut out for it, musically anyway. So the LA move was a nice way to, part.
It's a shock in the system in a lot of ways,
What did you learn when you moved out here, Carl?
That nobody gives a fuck about what you've done before you got to LA.
Exactly.
Nobody gives a fuck about what you are doing in LA either.
No, in some ways, and I as someone who still is very proud of, his time in LA, 17 years is a long fucking time to live somewhere.
Shout out to that.
That's a hero's journey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I only lived in, I really lived in DC for maybe 20 years, but not consecutive. So, at this point, LA is almost half my life. And dude, those first 3 years were just fucking brutal.
Yeah, what was it like? Tell me about it. Where were you living?
I was living in Sherman Oaks. All four of us in Spectre were in a 2-bedroom apartment.
Oh my God.
That's the life.
It's like being in college all over again, man.
What I love about musicians is that college doesn't end. It's just a perpetual state you live in forever because somebody's down their luck. They run out of money. They need a place to stay. And everybody, for better or worse in the community, boosts each other up, helps each other out. You know what I mean? Gives everybody a place to crash. All my friends know they can come here. And your friends likewise. People come over, they stay for a couple days, get their shit together, figure things out.
Fucking transients.
It's a bunch of fucking transients, that's for real.
I mean, when I lived in Northridge from 2009 until 2013, we had a guest bedroom that I think probably had someone living in it at least 300 nights a year. And we didn't charge them rent.
All right, and everyone who's not in the Los Angeles area, Northridge, I believe, is one of the worst places to live in Los Angeles. Here's why.
Earthquakes.
Number one, earthquakes in 94. Number two, you're equidistant from the 118 and the 101.
Yes.
And you're in the middle of the butthole of the valley, and you have to go a lot of miles on a road to get to a freeway to get to anywhere else that fucking matters. And that's the issue with Northridge. It's just there's a college there, which is great for everybody who's there locally, just spending time there. But
there's a lot of bars there that you can kind of walk to.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of bars there. But if you're trying to really do anything in Hollywood and Burbank, anywhere where any of the action's happening, downtown LA, Santa Monica, anything like
That's
that.
a long fucking drive.
It's a fucking 90-minute drive, people.
When I used to live back in Hollywood, once in a while, people would invite me to Valley, Northridge, blah, 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 blah. The first time I ever went to Northridge, and I had a tour van, an E350 tour van, and I drove up there, and it just felt like I was driving for a whole day. I'm like, am I ever going to get to this fucking place?
I mean, you were driving at least 45 minutes.
Dude. Well, I never used to leave my bubble, which is another LA thing, right? I would be right there in the heart of Hollywood, and I would walk to the clubs or whatever. I would try to avoid driving.
You live kind of by MI, right?
I live right at Franklin and Whitley, which is pretty close. Yeah. Hollywood Highland area.
Yeah, no, Hollywood's always been weird for me. So when I first moved out here, I moved to the area I'm in now, and I've stayed largely in Montrose for 25 years.
Largely.
I mean, I've been within a mile of here the entire time I've lived here. I moved here, I'm like, this shit's great. I'm never moving. And so I was immediately not in LA having an LA experience Do you know what I'm saying? So it was a little easier of a transition. Like if you're coming here from Utah or something like that, perhaps think about Burbank, Glendale, Pasadena.
You
know,
didn't fully indulge.
Oh no, I was not living down on the corner of like Franklin. Whitley.
I got a lot of great fucking Hollywood stories, bro.
I'm
We
sure
can bank
you do.
those. Whew, man. Anyways, I want to take a moment and just slow things down for a moment. I want to announce to the world, this is our first ever guest on this podcast.
That's true.
Shout out to Carl.
Big boners.
Well, thanks for
us.
having me, guys. Appreciate the invite.
And this is our first time with 3 working microphones. Shout out to us.
We got 3 mics and 3 set of headphones to kind of work, and I'm fucking proud today.
This is a punk rock podcast, really.
Yeah, I mean
DIY.
We're getting into, okay, so Carl, you're out here with the Spectre, right?
Yes.
And what happens in the years following? How does that band kind of pan out, and what happens with it?
I mean, we eventually did a record, tried to shop it around a little bit, didn't get any interest, and self-released. And about 6 months later, it just kind of all died.
But you're living with the guys.
Yeah, I mean, guys were starting to kind of move out. Dudes were getting girlfriends and, spending more time with the girlfriends. And then eventually the girlfriends were like, well, you're here all the time. Why don't you just help out on rent here?
Touche.
And light bulbs start going off.
I think the
get
same
it.
thing happened to that little group out of Liverpool, Beatles or something.
Sounds about right.
The Yoko Ono experience.
But it makes sense. I mean, like, at some point, like, you can't live that way forever. And, the thing is like when you live in a van with a bunch of dudes for, a month or a couple months, going around the country, you eventually go back to ideally your own home. So you have that separation, there's tics that people have on the road that you learn and you see, and you have to learn to live with that because, they're your bandmates, they're your business partners, and they're kind of like your other wives,
So what's the situation after that? You move on from Spectre to what band after that?
I ended up, well, the funny thing is I took a little sidetrack into Santa Barbara to go to Brooks Institute of Photography.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I kind of focused in on photography and kind of kept my ear to what I knew of an LA scene and Hollywood scene at the time. Eventually, I got a call from some friends like, yeah, we've got a band called the Knockarounds. Like, we need a bass player. Okay. So
that's great. I mean, and so you moved up to Santa Barbara for a short time?
Yeah, very brief. It was weird because like I was maintaining an apartment in Tarzana that I was probably never at.
another joy of a place to live.
But it was
Tarzana.
cheap and
It is cheap.
It was like, if I was driving to and from Santa Barbara from there, at least it was off the highway.
Yeah.
I could be on the highway in 30 seconds.
Well, Tarzana is named after the guy who
Tarzan?
wrote Tarzan
Oh.
lived there.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's why it's. I was wondering. I'm like, why the fuck is it called Tarzana? Like I've never heard that word before in my life, and I looked it up, and it's because I think his name's Edgar Rice Burroughs or something like that, who wrote Tarzan. Lived in that area back when it was like fucking nothing out there, just orange fields and things like that.
I can
and
see that.
They built the entire like community around that guy, his family, and that idea back in the day. It's probably like the 50s or something like that it came together.
Yeah.
So, but that was still back when it was like nothing was out there but Splon Ranch and a bunch of orange fields and things like that. So
Yeah.
it's interesting. The Valley is a wild place. Like if you guys don't know, the Valley is easily 15 degrees hotter than everywhere else in LA.
Maybe we should
at any given-
define the valley because some people don't even know what that is.
Okay, so there's downtown LA, and there's the stuff west of that and south of that, which is the South Bay, Santa Monica, the beach, Venice, things like that. That's where the weather's fucking great. Okay, like it never gets above 85.
West Side.
You don't need to get an air conditioner in your house. It fucking rules. But then when you get into the valley,
It's actually too cold.
You go over
actually.
this hill that separates Hollywood and the valley, right? And Beverly Hills in the valley and everywhere that's nice to live in the valley. And at Mulholland, as you start to head down, the temperature just keeps increasing until you get all the way out to Granada Hills where it's 115 degrees when it's 85 in most of Metro LA.
That's about right.
It's fucking brutal.
And then sometimes it's 100 in LA and it's 125 like in fucking
in
the
Woodland
valley.
Hills. Yeah. Woodland Hills.
I mean, I can say when I lived in Northridge that we kept our thermometer in the shade. Like we had like a little covered patio on one side of the house, and we're like, oh, it's 116 in the shade.
In the shade.
Wow.
That's horrific.
The nice thing was the house I lived in, a buddy of mine owned it, and so I was just helping his mortgage, and he had a pool.
Oh, well, that's how to beat the heat.
Yeah, it was rad.
Yeah, and in the valley though, there's a lot of houses that do have pools. Where like Hollywood, Central LA, there's not like a lot of pools around.
Yeah,
And at the beach,
lots.
there's zero pools. It's just beach. So that's what we have here.
Carl, let me ask you this. You played in a lot of bands, so we can't actually touch on all the different ones.
No, we can't.
But like roughly how many in your time in LA would you say you played with?
In Los Angeles itself.
I know of like 12.
Yeah, Tom, you do.
This could be a fun game, actually.
And I think you recorded at least 2 of them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I've known Carl for a long time. In fact, when did I meet you? Like 2012, 2011? I think it was 2011 when I worked with Davey.
Might have been the tail end of 2011 or early 2012. Yeah.
And you were with Christian Martucci at the time, right?
Yes.
Tooch.
Tooch is a great guitar player. Good friend of ours that he's played for Stone Sour for a while?
Stone Sour, Corey Taylor, Dee Dee Ramone.
He's in the Drowns right now.
He actually just left.
What?
Oh, shit.
Breaking news.
Yeah. So the Drowns are on a tour in Europe right now as a 3-piece.
And Christian is the most legit punk rock guy in the world out there. Like he's into all the right stuff, has the right style, the right vibe, and he gets shitloads of gigs. Like he's
a great player too.
Oh no,
he's so versatile.
Player.
Like it's just like sitting and listening to that man play like, chicken picking country music on my fucking bed one time. I'm just like, what the fuck?
I've got a funny Tom Drunk story with Christian Martucci. This is hilarious. We were at Viper Room. I was blacked out when I got there. It's like they were doing some Lonely Drunks gig where Christian was the main singer. They were doing a bunch of Kiss tunes and stuff like that, right? And I'm ramped up. I'm trying to get everybody to drink in the whole place. Everybody. And I forgot that he wasn't drinking and had been sober for a good amount of time, right? So I get up on stage. I got a pitcher of beer. I had a thing of Jim Beam in my fucking hoodie, like ready to go. I see Christian. I'm like, put your head back, dude. And he's on stage, and St. John's like, no. The drummer looks over at me, and he's just scared. I hit Tooch with it, and immediately I was grabbed by security.
I remember that.
And thrown out the fire. You're probably there. But yeah, that was a wild fucking night, though. I was like, dude, I'm so sorry I forgot you were sober. Like the next day I remembered. I was like, bro, that was a bad move, Tom. Never do that
Party
again.
foul.
Yeah, but me and Carl recorded with Christian together in about 2011, 2012. We worked on one of his solo records. I think we did a cover like Shoot You in the Back and stuff like that, right?
Motorhead, yeah.
Motorhead, we did that, yeah.
Yeah.
God, I'm trying to think back, and I probably saw you play before that with, I think it was Warner Drive or something.
After.
After? That was after? Okay.
Yeah.
That was after. There was a lot of alcohol back then.
You probably saw me with Joshua Ketchmark because
Oh,
Zach
yeah,
was
yeah,
the drummer in that band too. And then ultimately Christian was the guitar player in that band.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I forgot about Josh. Josh has been gone a long time.
Yeah, he left in 2013.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's a long time ago.
So how many bands have you been in LA?
Oh, back to that.
We got Christian Martucci, Josh Ketchmark.
I mean, are we counting bar bands
Spectre.
or just
Yeah.
original projects?
Just a rough number. What's the
Max
order of
Fight.
magnitude?
And currently you are with Crashing Wayward in Las Vegas, right?
Yeah. I think in terms of like during my time in Los Angeles, I probably played with, including bar bands, cover gigs, shit like that, at least 35 bands.
That is amazing.
Or artists.
Epic.
Yeah.
Which one was your favorite?
Fuck. Honestly, I gotta say Christian Martucci.
Wow.
Yeah, I really enjoyed playing those songs.
And it was a good vibe. Like when we recorded the songs, it was many
What year
lines.
was this? 2011 or something?
2011, 2012.
2012 to 2013, actually.
Those were good years.
Yeah.
Good years.
Yeah, that was, it was rad because, I was learning a lot from Christian about, different ways of thinking of writing songs. Like he was writing riffs and like these really interesting keys and structures that weren't like, just A minor, E minor, shit like that. It was like he was trying to get outside the box at the time. So like we were doing riffs that would be like in like Hindu scales or
no shit.
like Egyptian scales and stuff like that.
Tom, did you produce any shit in Hindu scales?
I did not. Actually, I have a big problem with Hindu scales. I'm going to talk about that.
Holy shit.
Okay, so like whenever a band gets successful and they start blowing up and going crazy, right? And they get to the point where they start to involve themselves with Eastern influences. I'm never a fan.
Beatles.
Like, the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, whatever. It just sounds like a bunch of like trying hard to like cram a culture and a vibe. And even when Dream Theater does it and stuff like that, like I'm not into it, or Lamb of God or something, like it's just not quite fitting the format for what, natural minor or Phrygian or something like that is. It's just like some strange version of music that I'm not familiar with, and it creates kind of a cognitive dissonance with me. Like I don't enjoy it that much.
Are you referring more to like how they kind of appropriate like the percussive instruments and some of the stringed instruments?
I'm
and
talking
stuff,
more about
or...
the scales where it's like 1 minor 2, like major 3, like that kind of vibe where it's just really feels angular and kind of weird. Like for instance, like I'm not even a big fan of like the Battle of Evermore by Zeppelin. Like it just seems too Eastern and off to me, and it sounds off. So I've always had kind of an issue with that. And when people go down that, it's like, are we out of ideas now? Like we can't just write regular shit anymore. I don't know.
Did you notice that was happening in like our punk metal music that Christian was writing?
I did a little bit. I mean, it wasn't to the point where like, I mean, the whole band wasn't playing somewhere that's like do do da la da do do da. And what's funny is that
That was beautiful.
I enjoy it with like System of a Down or something like that, where like it's part of like their culture and they're incorporating it. When I see a bunch of old white fuckers doing it, it kind of fucking bothers me. That's all I'm saying. So.
Part of it is about the
Authenticity.
or lack thereof.
I mean, I think what I thought was cool about it was like we're doing it in like this kind of heavy music medium where it can be a little dissonant here and there, or like, just not totally what you're expecting. Like it's not like your typical 1-4-5, punk rock box.
It is nice to go off the beaten path sometimes.
Yeah.
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 And there are bands that do it now. Like for instance, like I'm really into Gojira, of course, and things like that. And they do those type of modalities with their music. It just seems in a different way. It's not as like trying to copy the licks off of a sitar or something like that. I think that's what bothers me more than anything, is like trying to copy like flute stuff that you'd play to a snake into rock music. Is what bothers me. Not necessarily a riff, but you know what I'm talking about. Like,
I get that.
That's all I'm talking about.
Fucking snake charmers, dude.
That's what I'm saying. Snake charmer fucking music.
I want to go on record and say we appreciate all cultures here at TC and the Wolf, and everyone is created equal. Amen. Carl.
Yes.
The last time I saw you, we were at Aftershock together.
Yep.
You were playing with?
Five-Headed Cobra.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit what's going on with those cats? Those are some far out cats.
Yeah. There's always something happening. Sometimes I'm not always really clear as to what it is. Just being
That's the mark of
completely
a good
honest,
band right there.
It's not, it's not a slight. Angel Dust, our front man, is
named after a Faith No More album.
Yeah.
Hey now.
The best Faith No More.
That is their best record.
Yeah.
But he's an amazing lyricist, and he's an amazing frontman, and he's an amazing vocalist, and I mean he's another one of those guys that I've known for a long fucking time. And then Cody and Ryan, the guitar players, are just monsters. I mean, just two fucking guys that have figured out how to make their guitars have a conversation with each other over the course of a song structure for however many minutes that may be. And the music from the first time I heard it, I was like, I fucking love this. Like, but if another friend of mine had the bass chair at the time, and I was like, cool, I'll go support. Like, this is fucking rad. And then eventually it was like, I got kind of, got roped in as like a writer and someone that would like maybe go like woodshed the songs in a rehearsal hall behind a strip club in North Hollywood.
Classic.
Was it by Little Darlings? Or
Yeah, I think that was it. I'm sure you've been in that room.
I've been in that room a few times. Yeah. And where they say they have 28 beautiful girls and three
ugly ones.
Something like that, yeah. And, then I would do some sessions with those guys here and there, like recording and stuff like that.
How long has this been going on, Carl?
Close to 8 years.
Holy shit, no way.
Yeah.
I would have guessed like 3. Oh my God.
It's only really been active after, the world opened up again. As far as like, okay, it's time. We need to move on this. So,
hey, COVID, what a weird time for musicians, right?
Yeah.
How to not talk to any of your friends or see anyone for a couple years? That was weird, dude.
It sent my ass to therapy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You're not the only one. I mean, I didn't, but
I was looking at you like, oh, really cool.
Just like my therapist's name is Scott. He's a very handsome gay man from West Hollywood. No, but
my therapist's name is Christian Martucci.
He teaches you guitar.
I'll let Tooch know.
That's funny. So now, Carl, you've relocated to Las Vegas in the last couple of years, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're playing with Crashing Wayward out there, which is a fantastic band that I've been involved with your singer Peter for a long time.
Yeah, it's a small world too.
Yeah, it is. Like we all run into each other at some point. It seems like through Steve Brundage and many other people we hang out with. But yeah,
shout out to Steve.
It was cool to see you take part in that band because like it's a very powerful thing. They make great music, and it's good that I recently hooked up with Carl again, had him come back here and play with Nick in Oceans on Other Planets, right, Nick?
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, prior to the Aftershock thing, which was a great hang in its own right, Carl went on tour with us all across the Midwest, and we played some dive bars and some big stages, and that was the first time you and I spent any quality time together, man. And I have a lot to say about it, actually. I don't know if we have enough time.
We have plenty of time. What are you talking about?
But, Carl, I do want to say thank you, genuinely. We ended up having a really good time. I did want to tell the bass case story real quick.
Go for it.
Yeah, so Carl lives in Vegas. We live in L.A. We start the rehearsals. Carl drives in, sets up shop at his buddy's place or whatever. We start doing our rehearsals, and it's going well. And then after like a couple different rehearsals, we're out there loading our gear in the car and everything. Carl has this monster fucking Enki bass case, and he brought 2 really beautiful bass guitars too, by the way. And by the way, for people who are not musicians, we are judging each other by our instruments. There's no doubt about it. Carl showed up with 2 fucking beautiful, like, are they custom?
Nash custom P basses. Yes.
Yeah.
Nash is a good fucking brand too. Just so you guys know,
Shout out
you're not
to Nash.
fucking around if you get a Nash. That's like a $3,500 to $4,200 instrument, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I see him with these like beautiful guitars, and that raised your stock right there. That was nice, right? And he knew the music. I mean, no one cares about that. You just got to look good. No, I'm just kidding. But so then we're loading out. Carl's putting this big ass case in like an SUV, and you asked me like, so what's going on? Da-da-da. I said, we're gonna fly into, where did we fly into? Indianapolis. We're gonna get the van, load up our shit, go to the hotel, park it for the first night, and then the next day is the first show, right? And I'm thinking everything's going swimmingly at this point, and then you're like, what kind of van did we get, bro? Like an E350 or whatever? And I'm like, well, I think we just got a minivan because we're not bringing drums or anything. And it's like the record scratch right there. Like, and you're like, what are we going to do about my bass case, dude?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it would fit or not. I mean,
that's what she said.
Yeah.
I've had this problem before.
But then for about 48 hours, I don't know how you felt, but I was kind of like freaking out because I'm like, what are we going to do? Because we had to fly everything and we had to fit it in the van. And Danny Hector, shout out to Danny, was our tour manager at this time. And I called Danny, what are we going to do? Da-da-da. So we had like late night phone calls trying to solve the bass case problem. Fast forward, ladies and gentlemen,
Carl
it turned
was just
out
too big
for my britches
and for this tour.
I'm like, Carl, I have a bass case you can use. I brought the case. Carl's like, that doesn't meet my standards.
Yeah, I was sorry, dude.
It was brand new, but it didn't have enough padding.
I just knew it would end up in the hold. And,
That's true. That is true.
Especially on like an airline like Allegiant that we were flying out.
We were on a bumfuck airline.
Yeah. I was
Who
like,
flies
this is-
Allegiant? At least go to Southwest.
Well,
American Airlines, bro. That is my official airline.
They've never fucked anything up for you?
Never.
Oh, okay.
Well, also, Carl has like 1 million plus miles on American, which makes him practically the CEO of the airline. So he can get away with murder, which I have a story about that too at the tail end of the tour. But anyways, we get there, we go for the minivan, we just shoved it down the center of the van, and it all fucking worked out. But for about 2 days, it was like, are we going to have to pay more? Are we going to have to switch vehicles? It was a big panic moment right before we went. And Danny and I were both kind of pulling our hair out and shit. But after that, Carl, it's been smooth sailing.
Thank you. I mean, I enjoyed that.
We had a
run,
great
man.
time,
That was
dude.
a great
It's
weekend.
amazing what happens after you can fit it in.
Hey,
Right.
now.
It's just pleasure.
But I think the best gig, right, was the Epic Center,
Green Bay,
Wisconsin. Huge stage, great fucking hall, best sound, everything.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, that was
What is
rad.
Green Bay like? I've never been there.
Flat.
Yeah.
Flat, plain, strip malls, yeah.
Lambeau Field might be the tallest structure there.
Lambeau Field.
Yeah,
Literally
football-
a flat ass
where-
field. Is
No,
it?
where
Okay.
the stadium. You
I thought
know,
you were
where
talking
the
about a random
Packers play.
field by a park.
It's named after a guy named Lambo, right?
I mean, it's where the Packers play, and that's probably the tallest structure in town.
Jesus Christ. I can't imagine. I mean, and what were the people like there? Who'd you run into?
There were some anti-gay and lesbian people that we ran into here and there.
Really?
Yeah.
That exists in
some
Wisconsin?
closed-minded motherfuckers.
Jesus.
Yeah, but overall, I mean, like being in Green Bay was like, it was cool. It was interesting. Like, I don't know about you, or either of you guys. I mean, well, Tom, you said you'd never been there. I don't think you'd ever been there before.
No, first time.
Yeah, it
first
was
time.
my first time too. So it was kind of interesting and to like kind of walk around and like people watch a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, when we had some time.
Well, we went to that club after the Epic show, right?
Oh, that was
And
something.
everyone was pretty sauced. Like Taylor from Riding with Killers was there. We were touring with him. The guys from Allele. Actually, they didn't make it to the club, I don't think.
No, the only
Is
one.
this a strip club we're talking about?
No. It was a
No.
regular
It's a
club.
regular club,
But it was like, it was very Cleveland, by the way. It was like a bunch of white people taking shots of Patron, getting saucy, falling on the floor, being sloppy as shit.
It was like Weekend Warriors.
Yeah.
But like they were all like college age.
College,
It was
yeah.
like going into like a college bar when you're way too fucking old to be there.
But do you remember that game where
It's
we
like
were...
my entire life, Carl.
It was like you know, it was like Wooderson, you know? Just like all right, you know.
I get it.
The game Blank or Wasp, right? Would you rather listen to,
Oh boy.
you know, Nirvana or Wasp?
I'd rather
Or-
listen to
that-
Wasp.
I would rather listen to Nirvana, but yeah, that game devolved quickly into should I go there?
Yeah. Oh, are you not going to talk about the Can I Be Honest With You thing yet?
Oh no,
Save
no.
that, save that.
We're saving that.
Okay.
No, but you know, when Kyle was like, Ian Watkins and
Oh!
a baby, or Wasp.
I'm going Wasp.
Yeah, you have to
I
go
pick Wasp on that one. I pick Wasp on that one.
I thought of that game and almost texted you guys when, you know, Ian Watkins finally met his untimely end.
I kind of
Or his
forgot
timely
that
end.
was part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck.
Like what it takes for someone to get to that point where that guy's committing crimes on that fucking level with a major record deal where like those records, like people that don't know about Lost Profits, like it was a huge record.
It was massive.
It was on K-Rock like every day.
Dude,
Every
it was
second.
dude, it was on DC 101 probably 20 times a day.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah, it was everywhere.
It was a prevailing type of band that was out there conquering the world at the time. Everybody was kind of into it. Like I think they had like somebody crazy mix it too. Was it like Chris Lord Alge or
Probably.
who mixed out Rage Against the Machine? It could have been Andy Wallace or something like
Yeah.
that. It was some huge mixer that had done it. It was a mega budget record. And so you guys know, like those dudes, they don't do like 10 songs for like 10 grand.
No, it's like $100,000 a
It's
song.
like, yeah,
It's insane.
Well, no. Like I had a friend that worked with CLA like a little while ago, and for his entire record, it was $85,000 to mix it.
I stand corrected.
That's crazy, right?
Well, no,
Like,
but budgets have gone down. Back then, it was more.
yeah, it was
Well,
more.
Oh, actually, yeah, I think because a friend of mine had Andy Wallace mix his record, and I think Andy billed like $150K or something like that.
Jesus, that's
Damn.
For like 12 songs.
That's a lot
And
of
then they
songs.
fucking downsample and make MP3s and stream it at like fucking 64 kilobits per second.
I mean,
Through Bluetooth headphones.
just to like totally like sidebar way off of what we were talking about. Like,
Yeah.
When my buddy told me that, like, he got to go out to New York and sit with Andy Wallace.
No way.
While Andy mixed his record.
You have to pay more for that.
Well, I mean, it was on Flawless Records, Bill, so that's how long ago this was.
Yeah.
But he was like, yeah, I mean, it sounded, a little better than like what the first mixes with our producer were. But at the end of the day, like, it definitely took a big bite out of our advertising budget.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why the record didn't move.
Here's the thing with Andy Wallace, though. Like, he's done a bunch of records, right, that are incredible for different reasons.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, he mixed Ben Folds' Whatever Never Amen, which is like a home recording of a piano band. And he mixed Jeff Buckley, right?
He recorded Jeff Buckley.
He recorded
Yeah.
Jeff Buckley. That's okay. He did Rage Against the Machine, which is far different from that, and Linkin Park, which is far different from all of that.
Yeah, he mixed Contraband, too.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. He did every big ass record or small record that was amazing and awesome to listen to. So it's hard to argue with the history with somebody like that. And goddamn, if I could get Andy Wallace to make something I worked on, I'd be stoked.
Let's do
Same.
it.
I think he retired.
Yeah, I think he's done. Because he was already like 75 or something like that. And he was talking about his hearing going like a couple of years ago. I remember that.
Yeah.
That's interesting because hearing is, when we're children, we're actually the best listeners and we have the most frequency range in our hearing, which
Yeah.
is strange.
And we're the most open-minded.
That's true.
True.
But I mean, we're never going to hear up to 22K ever again. So,
Especially not you, brother.
yeah, I know. I'm hearing right around 12.
I mean, maybe if you're staring at like a particular, I don't know, output or something.
Yeah.
If there's a plugin that shows that kind of shit in different colors, which I'm sure there is,
I'm sure.
you
Yes.
can see
many,
it.
Many actually.
No, actually, I do a test. There's a test. It's called like a generator for like sine waves on my computer, and I play it for my friends to see who has the most hearing damage because you can slide
Ooh,
it.
let's
you
play
can
that
You
game.
can slide it up, and it's very loud. Like at 1K, you're like, God damn, that's boo! It's super
yeah.
loud like that, and it's supposed to be that volume the whole time. So as you slide up or down the frequency spectrum, you're able to hear where your hearing begins to stop and then completely cut off. And most of us,
This is very
that
scary.
have been in bands for a long time, literally, we have no hearing over about 12 to 14K anymore.
Symbols, bro.
All
Symbols.
that stuff that's above that is not present in any of our hearing anymore. And as you get older and older and older, the top end just keeps coming down. So all you motherfuckers that are saying you can hear 96K sample rate are liars because once you were 21 years old, you never could hear a difference between that. It's crazy how, like with bass players that stand by cymbals all the time. you
Yeah.
know? Yeah, it's like they're down around
Carl
10K
can
again.
confirm.
I mean, I guess for me, I've always worn earplugs. I have very rarely been in a rehearsal hall without them. I've very rarely played
Good
a gig
man.
without them. I mean, I was like, my first love remains drums. I was a drummer first, which probably helps me a lot as a bass player.
Yeah, true.
And I got my first drum kit, and I think 3 days later, I was at the music store getting fucking earplugs. Because, like, those cymbals, I mean, I was 12 years old, out of control, hitting as hard as I could, trying to figure it out. And, dude, those cymbals are fucking loud when they're right next to your own head.
Yeah.
Well, they're just they're so cutting, and then they ring, they're resonant, It's probably the worst thing for your ears.
Yeah. So, dude, I've always had earplugs, so I definitely want to take that test sometime, Tom.
We'll do it as
Maybe
throughout the
tonight.
podcast. Like literally, there's a tone generator right on my computer.
So, before I forget, though, I do want to say thank you, Tom. Thank you, TC, because you hooked me up with Carl to go on that tour for Oceans, and it worked out swimmingly in the end. And I like to give credit where it's due. And we had a great time. And Carl, you ended up driving like 90% of the way too, which was not part of your deal, but thank you, bro. Of
course.
It took a
No
load
short
off our
hops.
shoulders. Yeah, it was fucking awesome, dude. You're a mensch.
Hey, Carl, I had a question.
Yeah.
About your early influences. What was the music that like got you into music? So you're a young guy. You're out there on the East Coast. What's the thing you hear where you're like, fuck, I need to do that, dude?
It's So Easy by Guns N' Roses.
Ooh, yeah.
That was the song.
That was the song.
That was the song. Like my parents, when I was a kid, my parents were trying to teach me to tell time.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not understand the concept of like the shorthand being the hour and the longhand being the minute. It wasn't clicking with me. And so my mom gets me like an AM FM radio, and I discovered FM radio, and I discovered like a lot of those like, really hip one-hit wonders in like the mid-late 80s and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then, the neighborhood I was growing up in, like it was me and two other kids that were in my age bracket. Mm-hmm. And then it was like either all the older kids that were like in like middle school, high school, shit like that, or like the babies. And one of the kids in my age bracket decided he would rather be kind of like king of the babies. And me and my friends were like, well, let's go be the runts with the older kids.
Okay.
And the older kids were starting to get into, all the Sunset Strip, like, hair metal and shit. And nothing spoke to me, like Poison and Warrant and Motley and all those bands. And I was like, I don't really like this. And then someone got their hands on Appetite. And this was probably summer of like 87 or 88 when I finally heard it. And like Welcome to the Jungle was cool, but when I heard It's So Easy, I literally was pointing at the boombox going, I'm going to do that for a living.
And that song is one of the craziest Guns N' Roses songs still to this day, because it involves,
it's a gnarly song.
It's looking at somebody's sister in an uncomfortable way. It's drinking and driving. It's beating people up. I mean, it's crazy. And
fucking a girl because you're bored.
Because you're bored. Yeah. I mean, it's really punk and really interesting and really flippant.
It's a great groove too, man.
Yeah. I mean, like you can tell that was like, that was all from Izzy and Duff's, hands.
And when I first met you, you had nothing but Duff basses. Do you remember that?
I still have those basses. I still use them. Those are my main axes with Crashing Wayward.
Oh, good. No, but I remember that was the thing. Like that time, not a lot of guys had the Duff basses, and you had like two of them, and we were like stoked on that. That was rad.
Yeah, and I had Lindy Fralins in them, and that's probably...
Those are pickups.
Yes.
That's not a girl.
Yeah, those
trapped inside the bass.
Great pickups out of I think Richmond, Virginia. And that's just why those basses sound so fucking big and clean.
So what's coming up in the future with Crashing Wayward? I saw some news lately.
Yeah. So we just finished an EP. We've turned it into our label. We signed a deal with Golden Robot Records a couple months back, and we are scheduling like a release date. I don't know.
And Sean did the record for you, right?
Yeah, Sean McGee.
Yeah, great producer.
Great
Las
producer.
Vegas,
yeah. And we're just kind of waiting on getting that release date sorted out. I don't have it right now.
Roughly, when do you think? Like roughly?
I'd say first quarter next year. That way, because that's always kind of a good time to put out new music, because you can kind of spend the year working it.
Yeah.
Especially as like a newer band that's trying to build traction and get some momentum going.
Very nice.
Yeah, no, and everybody should check out Crashing Wayward. Great band. A lot of my friends, of course, are involved in the band. It's been going for a number of years now with different iterations, different members, things like that, right?
Yeah.
And now we're getting to the point where it's going to start having some market penetration, some real action in the music community. And I'm excited about it. When I saw you guys at Harvard and Stone recently, I was like, man, these guys are fucking killing. The light show was great. The visuals were great. The band was awesome. Everybody was super tight. One dude had like 9 guitars up there. That was kind of wild.
Yeah, Dave.
Yeah.
Dave uses all these really cool open tunings that, like, I fucking love.
Shout out to Open Tunings, motherfucker. Because like in the 90s, that's all we did was open tunings. I'll have you all know. Like,
dude.
Not just the 90s.
Yeah. When did you use them in 2000 though?
Aside from Third Eye Blind, no one did.
I meant prior to that.
I mean, yeah, the Stones did it. I think
exactly.
That's, Jimmy Page for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure the Beatles did too, but
Well, that's something everybody can try too. Like, say you're a musician, you're a guitar player or something like that, and you want to get a new vibe for how to play the instrument. I always tell people, fuck with those alternate tunings. Go in there and go like, okay, so how can I make the guitar stand out? Pick an open string like B, tune it to B flat, then play everything in G minor and hear the guitar open up for you. You know what I mean? Like there's just one or two strings you can bring up, bring down. Like you can even bring, the G up to G sharp, play all like kind of open positions with the power chord situation in E major. It's pretty crazy, like, to think about the possibilities. And guitar is the one instrument you can do that with, because like I deal with a lot of people that are violin players and cello players. You can't even tune that instrument down a half step without it fucking the whole instrument up. And with guitar, you can go crazy with tunings. And I feel like it's underutilized, but it does create its own specific vibe in a new way to play and approach the instrument that kind of breaks your head in a new way, right?
Yeah.
And
makes it fresh again,
It does. It's like when you were discovering something on guitar, when you were young in standard tuning or whatever, you're like, oh, when I play these three notes in order, this sounds rad. Like that starts to happen when you fuck with the tuning. You put it like in Rain Song tuning by like Jimmy Page or something like that.
Very nice.
Like you're
nice.
Like, I don't even know what chords I'm playing anymore. And that's kind of a good thing because you're not, like falling on your defaults anymore to like your own settings. You're going to something totally new and moving your fingers around and listening and searching. And that search is lost on a lot of people these days.
I mean, I'll never forget when I discovered drop D tuning when I was an aspiring songwriter.
The day you became a man.
Right?
You discovered your whole personality.
Yeah. I mean, it was like, suddenly like I'd written like, 8 songs.
And people don't realize why drop D tuning like came into the music pantheon was because of the speed you could play power chords.
Yeah.
With 2 fingers, it's much more difficult to move around. I mean, the best at it was probably Dimebag Darrell. He had it fucking on lock. But even he eventually moved into playing in drop D and drop C sharp and things like that to be able to facilitate motion faster with power chords, 1-5-1 kind of thing all the way through the guitar. It's interesting that it's... Now people just kind of tune their tuning and do their thing and stay in that pocket the whole time. And I'm not so sure that rock music is more interesting because of it.
It's interesting that you say that. It makes me think of another old band of mine from here in LA that I was in, a band called Superficial Saints.
Another great name.
It was a great name. It was a great band. And but sometimes like we would try to listen to like what are the hit songs on the radio right now, like in like the rock world, like what songs are huge. And when I joined that band, like like Nickelback was fucking everywhere, and Hinder was starting to take off, and Shinedown was starting to take off. So
also known as the worst era of my life.
But for us, like we were like, well, those guys are doing something right. What if we learn like a couple of their tunes and jam on them so we can kind of understand? No, I forget what we did, but it was
probably This Is War, This Means War or something like that. There's a lot of good Nickelback tunes back then.
The song that stuck out to me was one that was like down in drop C tuning, which I didn't realize at the time when I first tried to figure it out. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, I can tell that's in a drop tuning, and I tuned to drop D. I was like, oh, I'm not low enough. But it was the one about like some line in there, like when you go down on me. I think it was about like a toxic relationship or something that he had.
Was it like that? I like your pants around your knees.
Yes, that one.
That song.
Yeah.
I think it's called "Figure You Out" or something like that.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Even though I hate Nickelback, I do have a memory of the catalog.
I mean, like that's a smart song. It's a smart song. It's kind of gutsy. The fact that it was getting like radio play and became a single and everything, like. That certainly probably
it's
speaks
well
to
done, but it's kind of terrible.
They've sold more records than I have.
Here's the thing, though. Like,
fair.
Back then, there was kind of a resurgence, and we're probably talking about 2008 to 2010-ish era.
Yep.
There was a resurgence in kind of like slutty rock and roll, which was like
Buck Cherry.
So it was Buck Cherry. It was the Nickelback tune you're talking about. There was a bunch of stuff that was kind of glam rock adjacent, but in a new lower key and with like less aggressive singing and stuff like that, where those could have been Kix songs too, or something back in the day, or Motley songs or something like that. But they made it into something new with the new tuning and the new approach that they were dealing with. And it's interesting. Like Hinder had a bunch of tunes like that. The Puddle of Mud had a bunch of songs like that. Yeah, there's a lot of it. So
I mean, what I thought was interesting was just the fact that it's like I didn't realize the song was like that low, Mm-hmm. It kind of showed that like those low tunings were becoming like more mainstream all of a sudden.
Well, what it's related to, and this is interesting, I know this is a lot of music nerd talk, motherfuckers, okay, but that's what I do. I'm a music nerd.
Bear with us.
So like when a singer sings, usually the two highest notes they sing over a minor is the 5 and flat 6, right? And that's where it's really melodic and really tensiony over like the 1 chord. So if you're in C, you only have to like sing G and A flat, which is way lower than Foo Fighters songs, way lower than all Guns N' Roses songs.
Yeah.
So like people are like, well, Kill Switch Engage, there's a big melodic component to that. That's because it's all in C. And Howard's only pushing max, I think, on the songs to like B flat or something like that in any song. Where if you're playing an AC/DC song, there's shit that's like high E.
Oh, that stuff is really
It's
fucking
crazy
high.
high.
Yeah.
Like try to sing Back in Black. That's impossible. Try to sing The End of the Heartache. You can do that. And that's kind of how it was based around. And also it's a thicker sound. It's lower, it's fuller, and has more grit to it. So
Well, imagine, what was the first time you heard like something in drop C?
probably Soundgarden. I'm thinking Soundgarden, like Loud Love or something like that.
Yeah.
I heard something back then, but I was deeply into when Seattle music started to break. So I was listening to like Screaming Trees, to Soundgarden, to like all those bands that were like from Pacific Northwest. And I was breaking out of glam rock. I was one of the first people to be like, I still love like glam rock and the LA scene hair metal stuff, but this other stuff just seemed way more serious and way more of the time for me. Like there's a real heaviness and interpersonal sadness that was happening at the beginning of the 90s that those kind of aesthetics in music latched onto. And we all really gravitated, because I graduated in 93. I remember playing at my graduation for high school, and we were playing When It's Love by Van Halen, followed by Even Flow. And then we were playing, Smells Like Teen Spirit, followed by Pour Some Sugar on Me, because all those songs were only within the last 4 or 5 years.
You were in like a transition period.
It was
there.
a weird transition period. And I remember when Rage came out, and like the small group of us that were all listening to it in like 91, it was the most exciting thing and the most brutal thing anyone had ever heard, because it was like straight up promoting violence, straight up promoting chaos. And it was just a really weird time to grow up, because you saw the extinction of one type of music that you grew up from like 6th grade to like 12th grade listening to. And then I got to 12th grade, and this is like 93. So like it took a lot longer back then for shit to travel. Like to get to Utah, where I'm from, it had to happen in Seattle for a while. It had to build some momentum. So by 91, 92, we were starting to hear their Nirvana. We were starting to hear the Rage Against the Machines. But once it caught on, like by 94, it was completely like it had obliterated the former style, where I remember like working at a Walmart store, and the Def Leppard like retroactive record with the bitch with the fucking skull mirror or whatever on the cover, that was outselling still for a long time, Nirvana and Soundgarden. And then in 94, it kind of changed, with when Lane died and stuff like that. It kind of went the other way.
Tom, what was your favorite Seattle or grunge band from that period?
The Melvins.
Oh, well, that's a good answer.
I fucking love the Melvins. Like, I really love that they're just like so Black Sabbath and boogie oriented. Like there's still like, I listen to them and there's still a bit of Aerosmith and stuff in it too. And it just feels like a shittier, dirtier version. And it's very early, like The Sword, very that kind of sound, like early stoner rock kind of thing. And I really like that about it, just how deep and brutal and how into it I would get back in the day. That was probably my favorite band back then.
Well, they also, just didn't care about doing anything other than what they wanted to do, which was cool. Nobody could, because they were approached by labels once the sound got big and stuff like that. And they're like, no, we're going to keep doing our same thing.
Well, I remember the first time my real experience with alternative music was I heard early Primus in probably like 89 or something. And Primus was a band that had this thing called anti-marketing, right? They literally made T-shirts that says "Primus sucks," and people would chant it at the show. They'd be all "Primus sucks."
It hasn't
Primus
changed.
Sucks. And that was like the template for what when Faith No More and everything else like that came out. That's kind of what started to change. It was more involving.
It's a great strategy, and it's still being used by a lot of different brands and
more so with
companies
indie bands and things like that now. But yeah, for sure.
All right, Carl, it's been a pleasure learning about you, but one thing I do want to ask before we dip out is, what's next for you and your projects, specifically Crashing Wayward?
Okay, so Crashing Wayward, we have a Pacific Northwest tour in February. It's booked. We're announcing that December 1st, so just keep an eye out. We are going to have a release date soon from Golden Robot as far as like when our EP is going to come out. Probably waterfalling singles, so probably a couple singles, and then the entire body will drop. And then we're just working on more stuff, trying to get the next EP written, starting to kick ideas around for that. David sent me a song this morning that's fucking killer, and I look forward to getting to work on it. And there's a couple other demos that David sent me as well that when I get back to Vegas tomorrow, I'll probably start working on them. And then you and I got a show in like a week and a half.
Oh my God, I almost forgot. Tell the people at home about our show that we got coming up.
We're going to play some fucking Misfits songs.
Woo!
Which is like...
We Bite is the band, right?
Yes, the band is called We Bite. The show's at Harvard and Stone. It's on Thursday the 20th?
November 20th.
November 20th.
I want to see some of you people out there. All of you people out there.
I'll be there getting drunk. Let's do this.
So that should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that.
Stephen Asbury on drums.
I love that guy, man. He's such a fun dude to be around.
Listen, as long as you deliver on the musical front, I don't care if you guys do butt stuff. It's fine with me. Love is love, baby.
Even if it's between two men at a punk rock show. We are 138.
Yes.
And my brother Mario on guitar, and we actually just rehearsed yesterday at my little studio at home, and shout out to Mario. He's come a long way. He's really quite good on these songs, and I think you're going to dig it.
Nice. Very cool.
And Tom has produced a couple We Bite demos for us, too, which we're going to have seeing the light of day here pretty soon.
Nice.
We will have video content with those as well. Is that what we're
Oh,
doing?
absolutely.
Okay, good. All right, everybody. So I think we're going to wrap right here. Thanks for listening to TC and the Wolf this week. Of course, shout out to our good friend Carl Raether, who's here. We love him. Come back anytime, dude.
Great to see you,
always
man.
have you back, yeah.
Thanks for having me, guys.
You're the inaugural guest. You're going down in history.
Thanks for listening. Goodbye. We'll see you next fucking time. Peace.
Ciao.